Happy morning to you all. Blue Stars High Secondary School welcomes you all to learn the poem Confessions of a Born Spectator. This was written by Ogden Nash. Who is Ogden Nash? Now we are going to learn about Ogden Nash. His original name, Frederick Ogden Nash. He was born on 19th August 1902 at New York. His education. He was educated in St. George's School, Newport County, Harvard University. His specialty, unconventional rhyme scheme, humor. His career. He is a teacher, he is a born salesman, he is a writer and an editor. Literary achievement. Best of his work published in 14 volumes, over 500 poems. He died on 19th May 1971. In this poem Confessions of a Born Spectator, the poet believes that a spectator can be as enthusiastic as a player. When children grow up, one may become a jockey. Jockey means the person who is riding a horse, and the other may like hockey. Hockey is nothing but our national game, and others boxing. The poet is happy though he is not one of them. He admires the athletes who work hard. They dress well and also get injured. The poet is weak and shy, but likes others' feats. He pleases his ego by swapping himself with sprinters who break their spines and who ride the horses. But zealous athletes are rough and they have no concern for others' feelings. When players are injured on the field with snapped knees and cracked wrists, doctors are called in to treat them, those who injured on the field. The poet admires their physique. Ogden Nash. He was an American poet well known for his light verse. With his unconventional rhyming schemes, he was declared the country's best known producer of humorous poetry. In this poem, Ogden Nash talks about how people choose different sports in their lives or decide to become athletes. While admiring the talents of the athletes and sportsmen, the poet accepts that he is neither a sportsman nor an athlete. Children have different goals in life and wish to play various games. Each child has in mind something in particular. But the poet is happy that he is not one of the players. The poet admires the talents of all athletes and derives satisfaction from watching them, but does not wish to exchange his position with them. He also sometimes regrets that zealous athletes play rough games without caring for the feelings of their sporting rivals. He feels that good sense and caution win over ego. The poet wholeheartedly offers thanks for his modest physique. Ultimately, the poet is satisfied for not being an athlete. Now we are going to learn and enjoy the lines given in this poem by Ogden Nash. Confessions of a Born Spectator. One infant grows up and becomes a jockey. Another plays basketball or hockey. In these two lines, the poet talks about how a child in mind has something particular about sports and games, where one becomes a jockey who rides horses and another plays sports like basketball or hockey. In this age itself, they are choosing their career, isn't it? That's why the poet says. We may know the child, how a child in mind has something particular about sports and games, where one becomes a jockey and another plays sports like basketball or hockey. Then next, this one, the prize ring, hates to enter. That one becomes a tackle or center. Here the poet varies this and that. The poet in this line talks about the approach of the boxer, who one hates it and the other knows to tackle it. This one, he talks about the approach of the boxer. He hates it and the other knows how to tackle it, how to solve the problem, how to solve and win it, like that. Then the last two lines, I'm just glad as glad can be that I am not them, that they are not me. In these lines, the poet confesses that he is glad that he is neither a sportsman nor an athlete. He is feeling very happy because he is not neither a sportsman nor an athlete. Next stanza. With all my heart I do admire athletes whose bid for fun or hire. With all my heart. In these lines, the poet admires the athletes who toil hard, who works very hard to win while participating in sports and games. They are working very hard for winning, isn't it? So, he admires whether it is for fun or to be won. It may be for fun or to be won. Who take the field in gaudy pomp? Gaudy pomp means what? It's a luxurious, showy appearance. The poet talks about the players in the field where they play in a rough and noisy way, sometimes injuring or hurting themselves during the game. So, by these lines, who take the field in gaudy pomp and maim each other as they roam. The poet talks about the players who are all playing in the field. They are playing in a very rough and noisy way, sometimes injuring, at the same time sometimes hurting themselves during the game. My limp and bashful spirit feeds on other people's heroic deeds. The poet admires the talent of the players and their heroic deeds in the game. He is admiring them. The poet admiring them because of their talents and their heroic deeds. Next stanza. Now, A runs 90 yards to score. B knocks a champion to the floor. Here he named A and B. Now, A runs 90 yards to score. This line presents the way the players win the game. For example, team A struggles to score 90 yards and team B defeats the champion. So, he named the two persons A and B. By using this line, what he is trying to say, team A struggles to score 90 yards and team B defeats the champion. Cracking vertebrae and spines lashes is a steep across the line. Cracking vertebrae is the important body part. It's the inner part which helps us to stand erect, isn't it? So, the poet in this line, he says about the rough game in which the player injures or hurts himself as though a man on the horse beats with a whip. They are playing, they are running, they are working very hard. By their working hardness, they are cracking their vertebrae and spines, isn't it? So, by this line, the poet, he says about the rough game in which the player injures or hurts himself, as though a man on the horse beats with a whip. You had think my ego, it would please to swap position with one of these. In these lines, the poet derives satisfaction, but does not wish to exchange places with them. He is not ready to replace, that means exchange his place with them. He is not ready to exchange, but he derives satisfaction as he thinks that good sense and caution wins over ego. Good sense and caution wins over ego. The next stanza. Well, ego, it might be pleased enough, but zealous athletes play so rough. The poet says how the players play with enthusiasm, but they play the game roughly, where ego dominates their sense. They do not ever in their dealings consider one another's feelings. The poet, while talking about the players, says that they, while playing, are not bothered about the feelings of their sporting rivals. The next line, I am glad that when my struggle begins, I am glad that when my struggle begins, twixt is nothing but between prudence and ego. One fight is going on. What it is? A fight is between prudence and ego. But finally the prudence wins. What means prudence? Prudence means the ability of the players. So, the poet derives satisfaction but does not wish to exchange places with them, as he prefers wisdom which will win over ego. Prudence means wisdom. We have to think wholeheartedly, we have to think. So, finally, prudence wins. Next stanza. When swollen eye meets gnarled fist, when snaps the knee and cracks the wrist. Here the players, while playing the game, hurt themselves because of their rough and faster playing, isn't it? As they play the game roughly in a noisy way, hurting their body, such as snapping their knee and cracking their wrist. So, snapping their knee and cracking their wrist. When official dumb demands, is there a doctor in the stands? The officials, while watching the game, see the players get hurt. They demand for doctors to treat the injured players who snapped their knees, who cracked their wrist. The next line, my soul in true thanksgiving speaks for this modest of physics. The poet is thankful to his soul for not playing the game. He says he too would have got him like the other players. The last stanza, the poet wholeheartedly says to the players, athletes, I will drink to you or eat with you. I am ready to drink with you or eat with you. The poet is always ready to share a drink or a meal with the athletes. He is always ready to share it with them. Or anything except compete with you. But tickets worth their radium. He is ready to anything but he can't able to compete with them. Compete means what? To get some struggle against the people who are all standing opposite to him. He is ready to buy tickets to watch the game as a spectator. He is ready to buy tickets. The tickets worth their radium. He is ready to buy tickets to watch the game as a spectator. But he is not ready to compete with them. The last lines of this poem. To watch you gamble in the stadium and reassure myself anew that you are not me and I am not you. By these last lines, the poet says that he would like to watch the players jump happily in the stadium, but he concludes by saying that he is happy that he is neither a sportsman nor an athlete but only a spectator. He is saying that he is happy but he is neither a sportsman nor an athlete but only a spectator. So, the poet in this poem, Confessions of a Born Spectator, the poet Agden Nash, he talks about how people choose different sports in their lives or decide to become athletes. While admiring the talents of the athletes and sportsmen, the poet confesses that he is neither a sportsman nor an athlete. Children have different aims and wish to play various games. Each child has in mind something in particular, but the narrator is glad that he is not one of the players. Though the narrator admires the talents of all athletes, he derives satisfaction from watching them, but does not wish to exchange places with them. He also sometimes regrets that zealous athletes play rough games without caring for the feelings of their sporting rivals. He feels that good sense and caution win over ego. The narrator wholeheartedly offers thanksgiving for the modest physiques of athletes. Ultimately, the narrator is satisfied that he himself is not an athlete. Now we are going to learn about the words whichever helped us to understand the poem Confessions of a Born Spectator. Jockey, horse rider. Prize ring, enclosed area in which boxing matches are fought. Tackle, center, playing positions in football. Gaudy form, showy dress, luxurious dress. Maim, injure. Romp, play in a rough and noisy way. Limp, weak. Bashful, shy and reluctant. Lashes, beats with a whip. Steed, a large, strong horse. Swap, exchange. Zealous, enthusiastic. Prudence, wisdom. Gnarled, rough and twisted. Physique, body. Drink to you, drink to wish good luck or celebrate success. Gamble, run or jump happily. Infant, small child. Price ring, area for boxing. Glad, happy. Sweat, work hard. Mind, injured. Limp, weak. Heroic, daring, courageous. Cracking, breaking. Steed, horse. Zealous, enthusiastic. Prudence, wisdom. Gnarled, rough and twisted. Officialdom, bureaucracy. Gamble, jump happily. Jockey, horse rider. Tackle, approach. Admire, appreciate. Gaudy pomp, luxurious, colorful dress. Romp, play in a rough way. Bashful, shy. Deeds, actions. Lash, beat. Swamp, exchange. Twixt, between. Swollen, enlarged. Snaps, breaks. Physique, body. Thank you. Thank you, students.